Hey, just gonna make a quick video about um, how I arch the tops on my Selmer style guitars or Selmer inspired guitars. So you may know that the Selmer guitars had what they call a pliage, which is I think means bend in French, and the soundboard is actually heat bent right at the where the bridge sits. So they heat bend it before they do anything else, basically, and then they join the two halves together. So you have kind of a little bit of a V, very shallow V, right at the bridge. And I think what that does, as far as the reason they would do it, is because it gives you a little bit of extra. You see it on those Neapolitan, you call them like bug mandolins, the round back mandolins, where the soundboard kind of comes off at an angle. And I think what the purpose is, as far as I can figure, is that it gives your bridge, when you do a floating bridge, it gives you more breakover angle, so you're gonna get more pressure on the fingerboard. Um, if you built a flat top Selmer guitar, I mean, you could do that, and there's French guitars from that period, cheaper ones that have totally flat tops, but you're going to lose some of that breakover angle. So I guess you could make your bridge higher, which is going to make it heavier, or you could have a lower bridge and less string tension. But anyway, I wanted to make something that was had similar geometry to a Selmer, but was a little bit uh, well, the thing is, I don't really think that makes much sense to have if you think, roughly that you get vibrations going down the soundboard, there's little vibrations. Why do you want them to go like this and then go on a different angle? It doesn't really make any sense to me. I mean, not that it might not make a big difference. Obviously, there's great guitars, including Selmers, that sound good, but if you're trying to make the most efficient system, to put a bend in the board just doesn't seem to make much sense. I didn't really know how to do it. I didn't really want to do it. It seemed like a lot of work for nothing that I could figure. So I had to figure out something else to do, and this is what I came up with, and it seems to work. I think it works. I don't know. I wasn't sure it would work, but it seems to work. So anyway, what I did was I took the height of what I took to be the height of the bend. Basically, this is the when you bend the soundboard, you get this much elevation off of the rim right there. So basically, yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? So I took that height and I put it into the computer in my design program in Fusion 360, and I made it draw a curve that goes from the tail block to the headstock, and it takes basically, so it's a much more radical curve. You can see going. I don't know if it's easy to see, but I'm going from here. This is the height of the curve where the pliage would be to the tailstock, and then taking a much gentler curve because you got a much longer way to go to the headstock. So this is much closer to being flat, and this is quite round. This radius is probably like 5 feet. It's pretty significant. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see probably that this is a much shallower. If this was a beach, this would be going in shallow, and this is going in a little bit steeper. So what that does now, see, I could do something different. I could make this into what we call a radius dish, which would have one radius, and so I could press the top into a radius like that. But the problem with that is that the apex of the radius would be in the middle of the guitar, so the high point would be really where the sound hole is, and then the bridge would be lower than the high point, so I wouldn't be getting as much height as I could. So I took this curve here, and I put, like I said, I made it the high point where the pliage would be, and then I had the computer draw like a really nice fair curve. And then what I did is take that curve and I drew radiuses, or I drew basically spline curves that took it out to a flat rim. So the rim of my guitar is basically flat. Sometimes I take the headstock down a little bit to get a little bit of clearance, but generally the rim is flat. And I was a little concerned about that because it puts a lot of tension on the top, because the top is basically, I would call, tortured in that it's curved in two directions, and really would, ideally I think it likes to be only forced in one direction. So I'm putting some like torsion in two directions. But it seems to work, and what it does, I think, is it makes, when you torture that piece of wood, it kind of gets double the stiffness. When you push it into a curve that the wood can take, you get some free stiffness there. But when you torture it in two directions, I think you're getting double the stiffness. I can take a lighter piece of wood, a lighter top, thinner top, and then push it into that tortured position, and then I'm getting like free stiffness basically, as somebody said. So this is the mold. It's not finished. I got to sand it. So I just was kind of felt like I would do this video, but this is the mold for the top. So I'm going to press. Then my braces are going to fit this curve, so they're going to be irregularly shaped because the curve is different all through the guitar, and that's the sort of the interesting thing to me is that the curve on in each area up near the headstock, there's barely any curve at all. It's pretty flat. The same as like right here, it's almost pretty flat. But as soon as you get into here, you start getting more curve, and then here you're getting the most curve, and then this way you're getting this irregular curve also. So it's irregularly curved in two different directions. So I'm getting, I think, free stiffness for that, and I'm getting that height, so I get a nice breakover angle on my bridge. So I get the same bridge height as I would with the pliage. And so the braces are shaped to these individual curves, and then when I push them in, it pushes the top against the mold, and then the braces are glued in with that shape, and it holds the top in that kind of tortured shape. And then when I glue it onto the rim, again, it's holding into that flat surface. So I'm getting like a lot of free stiffness, and I'm pushing the wood kind of where I want it. I guess the concern would be like, is the top under such tension that it's going to split? And it's possible. I try to be very careful about humidity, and I'm also using a thinner top, probably between like generally around 2 millimeters, right up onto 2 millimeters. This curve doesn't seem to be too problematic, but yeah, so it seems to work, and the guitars have been healthy, and I haven't actually had a crack in a top as of yet. So I guess that's a good sign. And if a guitar cracked, it would crack. That would suck. But guitars do crack, so it's this is a method I've come to make really good sounding guitars, and we will see. But I think that's how it works, and that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna have to sand. This is just came off the CNC, and I need to kind of sand all these imperfections out. Not imperfections, but these are the tool marks, and then probably give it a coat of shellac, and then I'll be able to use it. This is some really, really shitty plywood that I've had for quite a while sitting around, but it makes adequate molds. These are for dowel pins, and so I can put a dowel pin, which is just a brass rod here, in there, and then one on the other side, and that's going to be where the braces go. So these are going to help me keep the braces in line. I may use I haven't figured out, but I may use a vacuum fixture to glue the braces in. And if I do, these probably will help me locate the braces and keep them where they need to be. If I make very short dowel pins that fit right in there, that are just a little bit above, but that the brace can sit in there, and then at the end I can trim them off. That's it. Maybe that was interesting. I don't know.